Oh, owie! My leg has been removed by unknown circumstances and I have no way to call for help. I'm bleeding out. Dude, it would be a shame if I died. Wait a minute. My leg's back. Am I alive? I'm a ghost. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm not complaining though. I can do whatever I want. So Oh shit. Get a load of this loser. He died without being in battle. Rookie mistake. Now he's forced to spend eternity in the Norse hell. If you haven't caught on by now, today we'll be taking an in-depth look at various mythologies from around the world. So, if you don't like that, what are you still doing here? First up, we have Norse mythology, which was present from around the late 700s to the early 1100s and was primarily practiced in Scandinavia. And to be honest, the cold must have been getting to them because, Jesus Christ, they believed in some wild stuff. How wild? A guy gave birth to a giant snake, a wolf, and an 8-legged horse. I don't know if it's just me, but I think someone might have been enjoying a bit too much of the yellow snow. In terms of afterlives, it's really hard to say because Norse mythology goes through bloody mitosis every 4 seconds and variates. However, I was able to find 3 afterlives accredited to Norse mythology. The most well-known of them, most likely being Valhalla. Nah! Get that out of here! Valhalla, or in Old Norse Valhall, meaning Hall of the Slain, was a Norse afterlife where you would go when you die. Wow, where'd I pull that one from? However, this specific place needed a few requirements on your resume. Die in battle. That's it. Valhalla is described as a lavish palace where warriors can train for the inevitable end times, or Ragnarok, in which everyone decides to have a racist hissy fit against the giants. It is said they train by continuously killing each other and then being revived at the end of the day, which leads me to believe they went to the wrong place, man. In actuality, it was Odin himself who decided who came to Valhalla, with around 50% of the soldiers who died going there. What happened to the other 50%, you ask? Well, they went to a different place, known as Folkvanger. Oh God, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Is the destination of half the soldiers that die in battle, chosen by Freya herself. In all honesty, I couldn't find much on what the place actually looked like, but I know it was a meadow of some kind. Hold on. This just in. Freya also allows for worthy women to enter Folkvanger because someone starved themselves to prove loyalty. I'm just saying, man, way too much yellow snow. Now, you might be wondering what happens to all the people that don't die in battle. Well, you'll be glad to know they literally go to hell. Not that one. Hell in Norse mythology is the third and final afterlife where those that didn't die in battle are brought to. The place itself is described as underground, cold, and dark, which is probably why the Norse didn't mind it that much. Contrary to all this, however, it's somehow described as a neutral afterlife, which is like putting someone in a freezer for eternity and then saying you're indifferent towards them. My bad, bro. Hell is ruled over by the goddess of death. Hell. They really pulled a Hades with that one. Within Hell, there is a little sub-realm known as Nastrond, which is reserved for all the people who committed murder, adultery, and oath-breaking, I guess? This little sub-realm is a little more familiar to the Hell we know today, with it being a literal pit of vipers. Nastrond was also home to the feeding pit of Nihöggr, meaning Malice Striker, who was a literal dragon. Yeah, those exist now. What do you look at that? We're done with Norse mythology. Oh, it's broken. Okay. Don't worry, guys, I've done this hundreds of times before. What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing the 1 year without food or water challenge. Where am I? Are my view counts up? Yeah, okay. Where am I anyways? Holy crap, Mona! No. Contrary to popular belief, Egyptian mythology does not include the presence of a mentally ill superhero guided by an angry bird. In reality, the afterlife in ancient Egypt is incredibly and unnecessarily complex, with many preparations having to be done before and after you kick the bucket. In terms of afterlives, however, Egyptian mythology has 2, a good one and a bad one, which is thankfully a little more insightful than neutral. Even so, my lawyers have advised me to go through a step-by-step process on how to do the new dance craze, die like an Egyptian. Step 1, die. Okay, I'll check that one off the list, yeah? Step 2, have all your internal organs removed except for the heart. What? That's right, after you have died, it's custom to have a team of priests brutally remove your internal organs, leaving the heart. This is because in Egyptian mythology, the heart is seen as a vital key to getting into the afterlife, with it being the source of your emotions, intelligence, and many other bodily functions. I tend to agree with them, which is why I have sold both my lungs on the black market. Unrelated, my asthma has gotten a little bit worse. The Duat is more commonly known as the Egyptian underworld and will be your first destination if you wish to make it to the good place. It is described as being an underground world filled with fire, dense chasms, and magical beasts that roam the land. I'm starting to see like a pattern of afterlives being like exaggerated versions of where they come from. Which is leading me... Does no one like where they live? On top of all the bad stuff said so far, you have to hide from the literal god of destruction to get out. Like, at least with the Norse, they didn't make you fight a bloody bus battle so you can leave. If you somehow manage to get through all of this, you'll make it to the mystical Hall of Ma'at. Here you will be forced to confess one sin you haven't committed to 42 assessor gods. What sins are they, you ask? Let's see. I have not done violence to a poor man. So, if you've beat up a homeless person, you're not getting in. But if you've beat up Jeff Bezos, you should be good. I actually still need this. I have not told lies. But don't worry, even if you have committed a common sin, like beating up a homeless person, you can still get in. If you have enough money. That's right, if you're able to pay for a magical heart amulet with a charm that wards off any lies you might be saying, you can get out scot-free. Because who doesn't like capitalism? This guy doesn't like capitalism. Congratulations, you got through the Hall of Ma'at. Now you're free to live in the field of reeds for eternity. Wrong! You thought we were done? You fool, we still have one more challenge to face. You have to go up against Anubis, not in a boxing match. The weighing of the heart. This is where Anubis will rip out your heart and weigh it against an ostrich feather. Now, listen. Might just be me, but that doesn't exactly seem fair. Your heart will be heavier depending on what sins you've committed in your life, and better yet, your magical heart amulet doesn't work anymore. Now, if your heart manages to be lighter than the feather, you will go to Osiris, where he will pass his final judgment. However, if your heart is heavier than the feather, Anubis's trusty sidekick Amit will enjoy a tasty gourmet meal, and you will cease to exist. But let's say that doesn't happen. Well, you'll be happy to know that after a very convoluted and confusing series of events, you've finally made it to the Field of Reeds. The Field of Reeds will be your final destination and your new eternal afterlife. It is ruled by Osiris, god of death and rebirth, and is described as an endless field full of wheat and farmland, where no sadness resides. So, sit down, relax, and just kidding. You thought we were done? No, we're not even started. You've still got to tend all of these crops. I wish I was kidding, but no. Even when you get here, you're forced to keep on working because the Field of Reeds is described as an idealistic version of what your life was beforehand. Meaning that if you worked a soul-drenching 9 to 5, you'll be doing the exact same thing, but with extra benefits, I guess. And that just about wraps up Egyptian mythology, meaning you can stop dozing off to sleep. Now, unlike most teachers at the school, I know you need constant stimuli to stay attentive. So, we're not even done. You got one more to do. Oh my gosh. That took so long. Oh, I finally made it up. Oh. Who the hell are you? How do you get up here? With my hands? No, you can't do that. Oh, my bad. Is there like a law or something I'm not aware of? No, it should literally be impossible. What happened to all the thunderstorms and smites? Oh, right. I actually come from England, so average weather, really. Oh, yes. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Well, I'm actually waiting for someone else right now. Oh, you mean the big angry guy? Had a red stripe down his face? Yep, that's him. That's him, all right, yes. Yeah, I passed him a while back. Oh, wow. Oh, interesting. Anyways, it's been nice talking to you. Bye! Wait, what? Ah! Hi? You wanna get on my boat? What? Do you wanna get on my boat? Okay, I guess. Gotta pay up, man. I just died. Whatever, fine. I have a fiver. Nope. More? Singular coin. I don't keep change, you Greek mythology is arguably the most famous out of the bunch, being a staple for most of modern media. The religion was practiced in, amazingly, Greece and was primarily dominant for over 1,000 years, first being recorded in 3000 BC during the Bronze Age. The Romans would then shamelessly yoink the religion 3,000 years later, showing a classic example of you snooze, you lose. However, the Romans then definitely snossed and lost. Greek mythology only has one afterlife, however, it's the same as saying there's only one question on a test when there's 50 other sub-questions. The Greek afterlife is known as either the underworld or Hades, named after the god that rules it. Hey guys.
He did not wear a helmet!
The underworld is split into different sectors, and the one you turn up to depends on how you lived in your prior life. But before you can get there, you have to face your first challenge, Charon, or the ferryman. After you've died and have been transported to the underworld, you will first meet Hermes, god of herds and flocks, travelers, and way too many other titles. I counted at least 9. Thankfully, the only thing out of his resume you will be using is his relation to herds and flocks, as he will be transporting you and other recently deceased to the infamous river Styx, giving a totally new meaning to cattle class. After reaching the river, you will first meet the ferryman, Charon, who will offer to take you across in exchange for a singular gold coin. Bit of a steep price, man. You might be wondering how you received this coin. Well, you'll be happy to know you had to be buried with it. What's that? You died on a remote island and nobody found the body. That's fine. If you don't have a coin, you can still take the public line, but be wary, it has a small waiting list of about 100 years. Now, let's just say you're in a bit of a hurry and decide to put your 3 years of swimming training into use. Well, that would be fine if the river didn't remove your soul if you touched it. That is, of course, if you're Achilles, who decided to use the river as an ultimate bulking tip and was granted immortality for surviving. Now, let's just say you paid Charon his coin or waited 100 years. Well, you'll be brought to the gates of Hades, where you'll meet 3 new friendly faces, the judges of the underworld. These 3 will be in charge of deciding which section of the underworld you're brought to, depending on the actions you committed in your lifetime. Now, let's say you committed some heinous stuff, a real war crime fanatic. Well, your new eternal home will most likely be the prison of Tartarus, a fiery hellscape where only the worst of the worst are brought to. Interestingly, a crime that can get you sent down there is hating your brother, which means I and a lot of people watching are probably in a lot of trouble. Tartarus is also known for being the prison where many titans such as Kronos were brought to, and also being that one place in My Hero. Next up is the Asphodel Fields, which was quite literally a place for boring people. If you didn't do something spectacular in your lifetime, but also didn't do something appalling, you'll probably be brought here, along with most of the general populace. You know, I'm going to give this one a pass, because this is actually a really good definition of a neutral afterlife. However, there is just a random subplot within this place called the Mourning Fields, which is literally where people who were heartbroken were brought to. So, fellas, better start finding someone quick before you're segregated from everyone else. Last up is the Elysium Fields, which was an exclusive club for all the popular people in their lifetime. This meant people that were favored by the gods, had high importance, or just generally had a lot of recognition. So Ryan Reynolds. But let's just say you wanted to take it a step further and get to the ultra VIP Isles of the Blessed. Well, you'll have to choose to be reincarnated 3 times and make it back to Elysium each of those 3 times, which would really suck if you drew a bad life and got leprosy and died 2 years into it. If you manage to make it to the Isles of the Blessed, you'll be granted with an afterlife of extreme luxury, living as a god. So basically Ryan Reynolds. And that concludes our mythological extravaganza, written, directed, and hosted by yours truly. Yeah, so the script at this point just turns into incoherent streams of text. So this is about the point where my brain turned to mush and I became a walking husk. Thanks for watching, I guess.